Hello everyone, in this video we are going to discuss mechanics paper 42 October-November 2025. Question 1. The diagram shows the displacement time graph for the motion of a particle. The particle starts from rest at point O and travels a constant acceleration a meter per second square, taking 4 seconds to move a distance of x meters. The particle then returns to O with constant speed of 40 meter per second over a period of 2 seconds. Find the value of x and the value of a. So to find the value of x, we know from the question that from t equals 4 seconds to t equals 6 seconds, the particle moves with constant speed 40 meter per second, and during this 2 seconds period, the particle has moved a distance of x meters. So we can use formula x equals v times t. 40 times 2, so x is equal to 80 meters. And then to find the value of a, the acceleration of the particle, we can analyze the motion of the particle from t equals 0 until t equals 4 seconds. During this period, the particle also has moved a distance 80 meters, as we can see from this graph. So we are using formula S equals U times T plus half AT squared. So we put the information. AT is equal to 0 since the initial velocity of the particle is 0, plus half A times 4 squared. Solving this equation, we can find that the value of A is equal to 10 meter per second square. Question 2. A railway locomotive of mass 240,000 kg is towing a coach of mass 36,000 kg down a hill incline at an angle of sine inverse 0.04 to the horizontal. The driving force produced by the locomotive is 450,000 Newton, and there are resistances to the motion of 120,000 Newton on the locomotive and 15,000 Newton on the coach. The coupling between the locomotive and the coach is light, rigid, and parallel to the hill. Find the acceleration of the locomotive and the tension in the coupling. So let's first draw the free body diagram using the information in the question. This is the inclined plane that makes angle theta degrees to the horizontal, in which theta is sine inverse 0.04, or in other words, sine theta is 0.04. And then the mass of the locomotive is 240,000 kg. So for the weight, we need to multiply by the gravity, which is 10 meter per second square. We do the same thing with the coach. And then we also need the x component, the component of the weight that is parallel to the plane for both locomotive and the coach. So WLX is WL, L is the locomotive, sine theta. So 2,400,000 times 0.04 is equal to 96,000 Newton. Then we do the same thing also for the coach. We find the x component of the weight. So we multiply sine theta. So W of the coach times sine theta is equal to 14,400 Newton. And then there are resistances for the coach. The resistance in the coach, the locomotive, the resistance in the locomotive is 120,000 Newton, and on the coach is 15,000 Newton. And then the driving force by the locomotive is 450,000 Newton. And don't forget to add tension in the coupling. So this is the tension in the coupling. And then using the Newton second law, we apply Newton second law for both locomotive and the coach separately. The formula is sigma Fx is equal to m times A. And then with the help of this diagram, we can make equation on the locomotive. So the system move down the hill. So we are using positive direction following the direction of the motion. So Fd is positive 450,000 Newton. And then WLX is also positive 96,000. For the resistance, since it opposes the motion, it is negative 120,000 Newton. And then the tension, the direction of the tension on the locomotive also opposes the motion. So it's also negative. So 450,000 plus 96,000 minus 120,000 minus T is equal to 240,000 times A. So M times A. This is the formula for the Newton second law. And then the equation on the coach will be T. It's positive since T on the coach in the same direction of the motion. And then WX is also positive. WCX is positive 14,400 Newton. And then minus the resistance 15,000 is equal to M times A. The mass of the coach is 36,000. So 36,000 times A. Adding both equation, we can cancel the T. So we can eliminate T by adding these two equations. And then we can find the value of A. The value of A is 1.54 meter per second square. Using one of these two equations, I'm using the second equation here. Using one of the equation, we can also find the value of T. So T is 56,040 newtons. Question 3. A car of mass 1400 kg traveling on a straight horizontal road accelerates uniformly from a speed of 15 meter per second to 20 meter per second over a distance of 175 meters. A. Find the time taken to travel the 175 meters. So to find the time, it can be easily found by using formula S is equal to U plus V divided by 2 times T. So T is equal to 10 seconds. And then there is a constant resistance force of 800 Newton to the motion of the car. B. I. Use an energy method throughout to find the average power of the car's engine at the speed as the speed increases from 15 meter per second to 20 meter per second. So we can use the work and energy equation to find the power of the car's engine. So the formula is the work done by the driving force minus the work done by the resistance is equal to change in potential energy plus the change in kinetic energy. The work done by the driving force is the power of the car times the time. And then the work done by the resistance is the resistance force multiplied by the distance traveled by the car. And then since the road is horizontal, there is no change in the potential energy. And for the change in kinetic energy, we are using formula half times the mass of the car times v squared, the final velocity squared, minus u squared. And then for the time here, we can use the answer in the previous part. So the time is 10 seconds. So the power times 10 is equal to 140,000. Minus 140,000 is equal to 122,500. So P, the power of the car's engine, is 26,250 watt. And then for the next question, the second part of this, the second part of B. Find the steady speed of the car could maintain on the horizontal road if the engine is working at the power found in BI. So this is the diagram. And since the car moves with constant speed, according to Newton's first law, the net force on the car is equal to 0. So Fd minus the resistance, the driving force minus the resistance, is equal to 0. So the driving force is also 800 Newton. And then we can find the speed of the car using formula P is equal to the driving force times V. Don't forget the answer for the previous part, that the power of the car is 26,250. So 26,250 is equal to 800 times V. So the constant speed of the car is 32.8 meter per second. Question 4. A particle P of mass 0.1 kg is projected vertically upwards with speed 30 meter per second from horizontal ground. At the same instant, a particle Q of mass 0.4 kg is projected vertically upwards with speed 10 meter per second from a height of 15 meter above the ground. P and Q move in the same vertical line. A. Find the height above the ground at which P and Q collide. So the condition for the collision is that the position of P is the same as the position of Q. Position of P is the displacement of P since P is projected from the ground. And the position of Q is 15 plus the displacement of Q, since initially Q is 15 meters above the ground. So using formula S equals UT plus half AT square, the equation will be 30 times T is equal plus half times the acceleration is negative 10. Negative 10 times T square is equal to 15 plus 10T plus half times negative 10 times T square. We can cancel this one since they are exactly the same. So solving this equation, we can find the value of T is equal to 0.75 seconds. And then for the height of the particle, we can use either SP or 15 plus SQ because they are the same. So here I'm using SP. I'm using this one. So 30 times substituting the value of T 0.75 to this formula. So 30 times 0.75 plus half times negative 10 times 0.75 square. The answer is 19.7 meters. Part B. When P and Q collide, they coalesce. Find the speed of the combined particle at the instant that it reaches the ground. So first, we need to find the speed of both P and Q after 0.75 seconds. We are using V is equal to U plus AT. So after 0.75 seconds, P move with speed 22 meter per second, while Q move with speed 2.5 meter per second. And then we want to find the speed of the particle after they collide. So for that purpose, we are using the momentum conservation law. MP times UP plus MQ times UQ is equal to MP plus MQ times V, since they coalesce after collision. UP is the speed before collision, the speed of P before collision. So we are using Vp here, 22.5 meter per second is the speed of P before collision, and then 2.5 meter per second is the speed of Q before collision also. And then V is the speed of both particles after collision. V is the speed of the combined particle after collision. So we can find V by solving this equation. So V is 6.5 meter per second. And then we can continue to find the speed of the particle when the combined particle reaches the ground. So students, this is the diagram for the combined particle after a collision. So we know after collision, the particle move with speed 6.5 meter per second upwards. And then at this instant, the particle is at 19.7 meter above the ground. This is the answer in part A. It continues moving up, and then after reaching the maximum height, the particle move down until it hits the ground. So in order to find the speed of the particle when it hits the ground, we use formula V squared equals U squared plus 2AS. And then the agreement for the positive direction, we are using upward direction as the positive direction. So the acceleration is negative since the gravitational acceleration always downward. And then the vertical displacement is also negative, negative 19.7. It's because the final position of the particle is below the initial particle, the initial position of the particle. So V squared is 436.25. So V is square root of that value. We found that V is equal to 20.9 meter per second. Question 5. A block of mass 5 kilograms is being pulled straight down a line of greatest slope of a rough plane by a force of magnitude 20 newtons. The plane is inclined at an angle of 10 degrees to the horizontal, and the 20 Newton force acts at an angle of 35 degrees above the line of greatest slope of the plane. See diagram. The coefficient of friction between the block and the plane is 0.4. The speed of the block when it passes a point O is 2 meters per second. Find the speed of the block when it has moved 3 meters down the plane from O. So first of all, let us complete the free body diagram with the forces that act on the block. So in addition to this force, we also have weight. The weight of the block is 50 newtons, 5 times the gravity. And then we also have normal force and friction force. And then we can split the 20 Newton force into X component parallel to the plane and also y component perpendicular to the plane. We do the same thing with the weight. The weight we can split into wx and wy. For fx, the formula is f cos 35 degrees. Because fx become the adjacent side. So fx is 16.4 Newton. While fy, we can find it using f times sine 35 degrees. So fy is 11.5 Newton. And then we do the same thing with w. But now wx, the formula is w sine 10 degrees. The value of wx is 8.68 Newton. And then wy is 50 cos 10 degrees. It's equal to 49.2 Newton. The next step is to find the normal contact force between the block and the plane. For finding normal contact force, we use condition that in y direction, the forces are balanced. So the net force in y direction is equal to 0. And in positive y direction plus fy also in positive y direction, minus wy, because wy is in negative y direction, is equal to 0. So the normal contact force between the block and the plane is 37.7 Newton. And then the friction force, the formula is mu times n. The coefficient of friction is 0.4 times the normal contact force, 37.7 Newton. So the friction force is 15.1 Newton. And then we want to find the acceleration of the block. So in y direction, the forces are balanced, but in x direction, the forces are not balanced. That's why the block move with acceleration in x direction. In this case, we are going to use this direction down the plane as positive direction because the block is moving down the plane. So using this agreement, the equation using Newton's second law formula become 16.4. 16.4 is fx, the component of f in x direction. It's positive, plus 8.68. 8.68 is the x component of the weight minus the friction force is equal to m times a. The m is 5. So solving this equation, we can find that the acceleration of the block is 1.996 meter per second square. It's supposed to be square here. And then the question asks us to find the speed of the block when it has moved 3 meters down the plane from O. But don't forget, the initial speed at O is 2 meters per second. We'll be using the formula for kinematics. One of the formula is v squared is equal to u squared plus 2as. U is 2, so 2 squared plus 2as. A is 1.996 and then s is 3. So v squared is 15.976. V is square root of that value. The answer will be around 4 meter per second. Question 6. A particle starts from rest at point O. The acceleration of the particle at time t seconds after leaving O is a meter per second squared, where a is equal to 2 times t plus 1 to the power of negative half minus 1 for t greater than or equal to 0. Find the distance that the particle travels from O until the time at which the acceleration is 0. So students, we need to find the time at which the acceleration is 0. Just equate this expression with 0. So 2 times t plus 1 to the power of negative half is the same as this. And then minus 1 is equal to 0. And then using algebra, we can find the value of t is equal to 3 seconds. And then after that, we find the velocity. To find velocity from acceleration, we use integration. Please remember the formula for the integration that you learned in Pure Math 1. Integral ax plus b to the power of n dx, the formula is 1 over a times n plus 1 times ax plus b to the power of n plus 1 plus c. So this is the formula that you learned in Pure Math 1. Using this formula for this part, the integration will be like this. And then the integration of 1 is t. Don't forget to add constant c. So v, the expression for v is this one. After we simplify, v is equal to 4 times t plus 1 to the power of half minus t plus c. In order to find the value of c, we use this condition here. The particles start from rest at point O. So it means that when t equals 0, v is equal to 0. So just substitute v with 0 and also t with 0. So like this one. And then finally, we can find the value of c is equal to negative 4. So the complete expression for v is 4 times t plus 1 to the power of half minus t minus 4. And then s, to find s, the displacement of the particle, from the expression of velocity, we use integration again from 0 until 3. 3 seconds is the time when the acceleration is 0. So use this definite integration. And then to do the integration for this part, again, we'll be using this formula. While the remaining part, I think it's very easy to do the integration. So the integration is this one, and then replace the value of t with 3 minus replace the value of t with 0. And finally, we can find that S is equal to 2.17 meters. So this is the last question on this past paper, question 7. For coplanar forces of magnitudes 20 Newton, 30 newtons, 15 newtons, and 25 newtons act at a point P in the direction shown in figure 7.1. The forces act in the vertical plane. The resultant of these forces has magnitude S Newton and acts at an angle alpha degrees below the horizontal as shown in figure 7.2. A. Find the value of S and the value of alpha. So to find the value of S is the resultant force of these 4 vectors, 4 forces. So the resultant force in x direction, we just add all component of force in x direction. But don't forget, if the direction is to the left, it will be negative for x direction. So this one is F1. F1x is 30 cos 30 degrees. And then this one is F2. As you can see that the direction of F2 in x direction is to the left. That's why I put negative there. And then F3, this one is F3. The x component of F3 is 15 cos 45 degrees. While F4, since it is directed downward, F4 has no x component. So the net force in x direction is 17.8 Newton. And then we also find the net force in y direction. For net force in y direction for F1, in y direction is 30 sine 30 degrees plus 20, this is F2, 20 sine 20 degrees. And then be careful for F3, the y direction, the y component of F3 is negative, since it's directed downward for the y component of F3. And then for the last vector, the last force also, it's negative since the direction is downward. So the net force in y direction is negative 13.8 Newton. So these 4 forces can be represented by a single force S. We need to find the value of S. So the x component of S is 17.8 newtons, And then the y component of S is negative 13.8 newtons. So we can find S using Pythagoras theorem. Square root of 17.8 square plus 13.8 square. So the magnitude of S is 22.5 Newton. And then for the direction, we need to find alpha. Alpha is tan inverse 13.8 Newton, since this one is actually negative 13.8 Newton. Downward. 13.8 divided by 17.8. So tan inverse. The value of alpha is 37.8 newtons. Below positive x-axis. We can also add information that this angle is below the positive x-axis, since the y component is negative. That's the answer for part A. And then we continue to part B. A small ring of mass 0.6 kilograms is threaded on a rough straight horizontal wire. The four forces shown in figure 7.1 act on the ring and are in the same vertical plane as the wire. The ring starts from rest and takes 3 seconds to travel a distance of 2 meters along the wire. Find the coefficient of friction between the ring and the wire. So students, first of all, we need to find the value of the acceleration using this information. The ring starts from rest and takes 3 seconds to travel a distance of 2 meters along the wire. So the kinematic formula that we are using here is S equals ut plus half at square. U is 0, S is 2, and then the time is 3. So A is 4/9 meter per second square. And then after that we draw the force that act on the ring. The question says that all four forces in part A act on the wire. But then the four forces can be represented by a single force S. This one. One force represents four forces. So the four forces here we can replace with one force S. S has X component 17.8 Newton and then negative 13.8 Newton. So this is the ring, this is the X component of S and Y component of S. The Y component of S is downward, is actually negative here. In addition to S, in addition to those four forces, we also have the weight of the ring, which is 0.6 times 10. So the weight is 6 Newton. And then we also have the normal contact force between the ring and the wire. And the last, we also have friction force. Now how to find the normal contact force? The normal contact force, we can use condition that the net force in y direction is equal to 0. So N minus 6 minus 13.8 newtons is equal to 0. Downward negative. So the normal contact force is 19.8 newtons as the normal contact force. And then how to find friction? Don't forget we have calculated the value of acceleration before. So the acceleration is 4.4/9 meter per second square. To find the value of friction force, we use Newton's second law. The net force in x direction is equal to m times a. So 17.8 minus the friction force is equal to 0.6 times 4/9. The friction force is 17.5 newtons. Finally, the coefficient of friction, you just divide the friction force with the normal contact force. So 17.5 divided by 19.8 newton. So the coefficient of friction between the ring and the wire is 0.884 newton. So students, I think that's it for this session. I hope you can enjoy the video and the video can help you in preparing you for the Cambridge exam. Thank you for watching and see you on our next video.